anyone have or can recommend a good resource for some RSS SEO tactics? RSS SEO. Well, I mean, depends on what you're trying to do with it is whether I would consider using it anymore. I mean, we're using it and testing it and running forward with it in the local space. So in that aspect, I can see RSS still being very valuable. But my personal opinion on RSS and syndication is organically, it's probably not going to be super helpful. That's just my personal, what I saw. Like at one point, man, you could run some syndication and organically see some awesome stuff. I didn't test it lately because it just stopped working, and then we never used it again organically. Yeah. But we are using it locally, and it looks like some pretty cool stuff locally can be done. What do you think, Mike?
I mean, I used to do a lot with like auto blogging and things like that, especially on PBNs. Even the IFTTT network thing, like you said, they just don't work as well as they used to.
For organic.
Yeah.
Right? Am I right there?
No, that's the same thing I've seen.
Some people are YouTube maybe, yeah. I could see where they could be good for YouTube. Local, we're seeing some pretty cool stuff with local.
And I think with local, it comes down to the citations, the geo citations, references. As to before with organic, it was more like it was building authority to the content. It wasn't just about like the geo, proximity aspect, which I think is why local is benefiting so much from it. I will say the biggest thing that I do like using RSS for, obviously anything like if you have a brand syndicating to your Facebook, like using a buffer or something, definitely recommended. But from like an SEO stance, I've only really, I'll still use them for generating content on like a WordPress sucks because they'll
bring it into
down,
your site.
Not even my site, to tier 1 properties.
To build those out fuller.
Exactly,
and to bring the content in, the relevant niche content.
Similar to like a geo network.
But you're not actually pushing your stuff out organically. You're using it to build your properties and bring it in.
Yeah, almost like building a geo network. Exactly. And then use an RSS mixer, masher, whatever. I think like rssmix.com or something. You can put 4, 5, 10 RSS feeds from Business Insider, major websites. Yeah. And you could change, say how many will show up, how often, and things like that, and then have that trigger syndication to your Weebly account.
Yeah, and build that into a little niche.
Exactly, and then use that for links, interlinking, even like the Google GMB syndication stuff. But yeah, I don't really use it so much for the on-site backlinking, or it's really just a content strategy to really build up kind of properties at this point for me. Yeah.
I even think, like things like, I think Harvard Law Review has an RSS feed. Yeah. And you can, because I was looking at building them for some law stuff and building some law related feeds, and I thought I found some pretty cool ones. So yeah, I could see where you use that feed to build your your properties up and build them into little authorities. But to actually syndicate out, like me personally, like I didn't see any good results anymore from it organically.
And if you are still looking to do those tier 1, tier 2, you can really destroy your SEO if you don't know what you're doing. That's the biggest thing that I saw even back in the day when they were working. If you syndicate out to tier 1 properties and then you have, like, you're syndicating out to like 120 properties at once and you don't have those RSS feeds set up properly, you're going to build anchor text links and all kinds of horrible stuff. So definitely be careful when, I honestly wouldn't even use the syndication strategy for just on-site.
They were taking the article title and making that the links a lot of the time. That was your link. So
sometimes people would syndicate the whole content with the internal links as well, and they would put internal links with the exact match. And
that's why we used to use RSS to syndicate. We moved like using Twitter, and it didn't get like everything was behind a Twitter short link, and that was working very well for.
It was.
It was like Google really loved Twitter at that point. Not that they don't still, but you don't get the benefits like you used to.
No, yeah. We actually switched our service to only using Twitter because we didn't want people to run the risk of screwing themselves in the future.
Oh my goodness, you could burn a site down quick with RSS.
Yeah, so still a lot of use for it, I think. I wouldn't overlook it. Definitely not a lot of really good solid training on it because it's kind of become an afterthought, I think.
So we are going to put some training about RSS for the local on localviking.com. We are going to have, so localviking.com, your GMB post actually has an RSS feed, and we're in active testing right now on some really cool stuff that's going to go right into a big training course that we're going to come out with RSS for GMB syndication, GMB post syndication. But I don't know anything else that I could recommend.
Yeah, definitely something to play around with and test. Don't test on your site. Play around with other properties, but don't overlook it. But yeah, there's not so much to really get into. Definitely watch out for the training on Local Viking.